quite frankly, if you want an honest assessment, I don't think they care all that much about the grades.
It sure seems that way because we haven't seen a whole lot of changes.
I think they care about things like the family treatment, the very easy fixes. But I think the other stuff, it is what it is to them. Mm-hmm. It's a shrug of the shoulder. They're building this thing, and so we'll see in a couple of years. But I don't think they're all that moved one way or the other by these grades. The question is, should they be? And I think some of those grades for Robert Kraft and ownership, I think those are things that he should take note of.
And you do.
So that was Phil Perry with Taylor Kiles of CLNS Media. Mitchell, do you think the Patriots care about the bad grades, bad report card, ownership?
No.
Okay. So you agree there with Phil Perry. I don't buy it. But I'll explain here more. That is going to be a topic on the board. We're going to start the show with the Patriots' bad report card and how it ties into something I've been teasing all week. And that is Tom Brady, Las Vegas, Pete Carroll, the New England Patriots, Robert Kraft, Mike Vrabel, and Drake May. Which is more appealing? What is a better destination? What is a more stable ownership group? And that is a crazy thing to even bring up because of Mark Davis. But now Brady, a minority owner who is not operating like a minority owner. And we're going to get into that here. So we are going to go over the report card. I have the Raiders report card, Mitchell. I have the Patriots report card. We broke it all down. So we're going to get into that. Also, free agent speculation, buzz, conflicting reports about T. Higgins. Mitchell, that is also out there. So we'll try to get to that. Draft and combine news. And we can mix in anything that you want. Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins related. 978-454-4980, the Middletown Electrical Service text line. Our email is open, sportsuncapped, WCAP @gmail.com. And Mitchell, I did not forget our YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble?
Yes.
Okay, Rumble. That is all up too. Mitchell is staying current on that. Mm-hmm. New desktop.
Yep.
5 terabyte. Thing is powerful.
Yep.
Mitchell, how was your drive-in?
Terrible.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I hate
not
traffic.
Not good, but at least apparently we were dealing with the same things.
Yeah, traffic. Unnecessary. Just drive.
So here was my bigger problem, not the traffic. Google Maps. So I always use Google Maps when I come in.
Yep.
I always do. Mm-hmm. Not because I don't know how the hell to get here, but because I want the fastest route. So I use Google Maps. There are 2 ways to get here. Okay, 2. So I really use Google Maps just to tell me which of the 2 ways is faster.
Yep.
It took me one way. Mm-hmm. That ran me into about 30 minutes of traffic. Then instead of taking me the normal route of which I go when I come here and use the route that I used, it decided to take me through back streets that I had no idea where I was. No idea. Lost.
Yep.
I mean, I'm following the thing, so I'm not lost, but I finally get out to an area that I know, and I typically, at that point, turn it off, right? No. You're going to hear about this, Google. I was spiteful today. I let it pull up, say you've arrived at your destination. It gives you the little smiley to the frown face at the bottom. I push frown face. Told them their route sucked and that it was unnecessary for them to take me that way. So anyways.
You showed them.
I showed them. And I'm sure all the people at Google are taking those reviews very seriously. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the app will never take me that way again or even suggest it.
Yep.
Sure. All right, Mitchell. What do you think overall of this NFLPA survey, which gives us these grades every year? They started doing it 2 years ago. And I'll tell you, Mitchell, I love it. Mm-hmm. I do. I love it. It's an anonymous player survey conducted between August 26th and November 20th of the following year. And it is going to be something that is annually produced and put out there every single year. I'll tell you why I love this. It holds these cheap-ass owners responsible for something. Who holds owners responsible, Mitchell? I mean, it's typically, you would say fans, right?
Yeah.
Fans. Okay. Around here, that's one thing.
Yeah.
You think Carolina really cares? No.
They were selling tickets for $1.
But it is easier for this way for people to criticize it and say, yeah, this is just how cheap these billionaires are. Stingy. Professional athletes. The most money-making business in sports in North America. And these guys still rubbing pennies together, not putting together good training facilities or getting, accommodations for travel booked up and all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a direct indication of how these players feel about ownership. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
There are flaws with it. Don't get me wrong. There are flaws. When you say, well, players were drafted to one organization, and I've heard this argument, well, what are they comparing it to? What are they comparing this to?
I would say to where they went to college.
And that may be true. I'd also say to that argument, what does it matter what they're comparing it to?
Yeah.
Is it what they would have expected in the NFL with billionaires who constantly make money over fist and whose cap keeps increasing because of revenue? I don't need to compare it to anything to tell you that it is subpar or sucky. I can walk into any gym. Yes, I might compare it to previous gyms, but you just know, is it a good facility? Is it not? Mm-hmm. Is the staff up to par? Are they not? Is the place clean? Is it taken care of? Is it not? I don't need to compare it to something to tell you if it's really bad or not. It gives me more info to do so, but I don't need it. So, Mitchell, I love these surveys. I do. I don't think the Crafts do. But I want you to explain. Why do you like the survey?
I think
Have you taken time to read through it?
Yeah, I've looked through it. I've seen, for the Patriots, I thought it was interesting when you look at the staff, the training staff, they got good grades.
Gerard's brother.
Yeah.
Part of that staff.
Yep. But you look at that, and they got good grades with that. But then when it came to the facility, it came to the training room, the plane, bad grades for those, and then ownership, bad grades. So I mean, it shows like some disdain from the players to ownership for the Patriots organization, and I mean, I mean, obviously it's anonymous, but I would like to know who did it, because you got guys like Hunter Henry, who came from.
Players have gripes. That's the other flaw with it.
Well, I was going to say with him, he came from San Diego / LA Chargers, where that ownership is known to be extremely stingy as well.
Yep. And
I wonder if he filled it out and he was like, that other guy sucked, but Robert Kraft, whoa, this guy, let me tell you. And then Jacoby Brissett, he's been around the league, he's been at different facilities, and for him, has he been like Indianapolis, Washington, Cleveland, and then he comes to the Patriots and he's like, I hate to be that guy, but Indy, let me tell you about their training equipment. Nothing's rusted. Everything's taken care of. It looks great. Big, wide open area. This place, it's cramped. It's a janitor's closet. It sucks. I just wonder who's in there, because, again, I think it's like you noted, it doesn't matter if they
it's
have
not
experience.
every player either.
Yeah.
It's not every player.
And I would just hope that it's just they're doing it not biased. But I think the Crafts, I think they probably get frustrated because they're probably looking at it like, well, we had that same facility when Brady was here, and it was never an issue. You never heard anything about it, and I think this goes to Kraft's ego, and we've been talking about his ego for a while now since the documentary.
This is why I think he cares about grades.
Yeah.
This is why every time something like this comes out, someone has a report. Oh, I don't think they're bothered by this. Oh, I don't think they care about the backlash over the documentary. Oh, I don't think he cares about getting into the Hall of Fame. That was Curran. Remember, we talked about that the last time he failed to make it through, which, by the way, he should. But, oh, no, I don't think Robert cares. Robert is understanding that this fight is ended. Like, it's going to happen or it's not. He's cool with it. Now you hear Perry on there saying, I don't really think they care about the grades. And I'm not saying he said that as a source close to Robert Kraft. I'm just saying, yeah, he does care. He does care. It's a reflection of him. And we talk about him taking back his team and getting the proper praise for being the type of owner that he has been and producing 6 Super Bowl titles and the greatest run of dominance in the sport, probably in the history of the 4 major sports in the country. Don't tell me that Robert Kraft doesn't care about it. ranked 31st overall out of the 32 NFL teams. 31st. And Mitchell, you talked about the grade the owner received. D. 29th out of 32 owners. You know who they were among? And that bottom 5 of the National Football League? The Browns. Okay, the Browns.
Yep.
The New York Jets and Woody Johnson.
Oh, wow.
And the Steelers. Now, the Steelers do surprise me, the Rooney family. But that's not exactly the company of the Browns and the Jets that you want to be surrounding yourself with.
No.
And I believe the Cardinals were the other team.
Yep.
So
you have an organization, just to break it down.
all based off of ego. You're telling me
Yep.
who beg for praise and constantly want their flowers that these grades, they don't get them back and feel like, what? Are you, how? How is this possible? The truth is, no one, even the players inside the building, feel like they're going to invest to win.
I bet you if Aaron Rodgers voted on that, he would have leaked his results.
Well, he's an ass clown. I don't look at anything he does.
He would have been like, yeah, I gave Woody an F.
Yeah, so
he would have dropped it. He would have been like, let me tell you what I voted.
I tell you, these are grades that are worse than the grades that I received in high school. I mean, really. These were the ones that, like, you know, I was getting in high school C's, C pluses, C minuses, and I was like, oh, man, I know I'm going to hear about this. Now, college, completely different story.
Same.
Summa cum laude, Mitchell.
Yep.
Hung that bad boy right up on the wall. But either way, so this is what the NFLPA surveys has to say about ownership.
Yep.
D, 29th out of 32 teams. Owner Robert Kraft's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities is 6.15 out of 10. From the Patriots players ranking 28 out of 32 owners in the league. The Patriots feel the Kraft slightly contributes to a positive team culture, a rank of 30 out of 32. Okay, so once again, Supercraft in the documentary, guess it didn't really play that well for him. Shocking. The players feel that Kraft is somewhat competitive to building a competitive team, a rank of 30 out of 32 owners. Good. Good. This is what he deserves. This is what he deserves. Not just for the handling of Tom and Bill. I'm not talking just about that. Overall investment in the team. You are cheap. And a lot of this had been covered up because of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and your best player and the greatest of all time was willing to take your crummy little deals for so many years and allow you to continue winning without spending. And I'm not saying they never spent. But now you're seeing it come to full fruition, where there's no longer a Tom Brady. Bill was on the back nine, out the back door. And now the whole purview of the organization, the forefront of it, is the Krafts. How are you going to handle this? And not just have they stocked the roster bare, and there is a budget, so this does reflect on the Krafts. You could say, well, that was Bill, and some of it was, and that was Elliott, and that was them resetting, and look at where they rank in cap spending and over. I know how it all works. It's convoluted. I'm not getting into it. You can break the numbers down. Yes, they have to spend to a 90% floor of the cap. Yes, you roll over. There's a 3-year average, as Kraft has always talked about, that they like to be in a certain place in the cap. If you spend 1 year, then you don't spend as much in that. Blah, 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 blah. The reality of it is, Mitchell, they reeked of arrogance for so long because their business practices and the way they did business was better than everybody else. And it was different than everybody else. And it produced winners like nobody else. And now all of a sudden, Tom's gone out the door. In 5 years, you've been fumbling and bumbling all your way down to the bottom, with the one exception year that they spent. So good. I'm glad. This is what they deserve. Because they've acted fraudulently. They've acted arrogantly. They haven't been humbled enough. And I do think that with the infusion of Mike Vrabel and the state of the team, they are going to spend. Again, I said it the other night. It's not going to be big, sexy, splashy names that you want to hear. They will improve this football team. And I do credit them for making the move to Vrabel. But let's not, they're great owners. That's how I felt for a real long time. And in fact, free agency, Mitchell, I came on here and I said, this is the best destination for a coach. Top coaching candidates want to be here. Why? The quarterback, yes. The money that is available, yes. And also, this is one of the better ownership groups. Well, you know what? Not really. They were ranked 20, what was it last year? I don't have it in front of me from last year. I know the organization as a whole was 29th last year. They've continued to go down. And this is why I think the Crafts have something to prove this offseason. They've had something to prove. But now there's no bringing in a new coach and having a quarterback on a rookie deal and being stingy with dollars.
Yep, this is the time to spend. And last year, what we accredited most of those ratings to was Bill. That's what we accredited to last year. We talked about Bill and how there was definitely some disconnect. I forgot what we said exactly, but we had talked about that ad nauseum, about how there was probably a lot of things going on within that organization behind the scenes with Kraft and with Bill, and that probably led to the grades. And here we are a year later, grades are still there. So, I mean, it's at that point, to me, I'm thinking, what is it then? And the only constant is Kraft.
They've operated like a second-rate organization. Mm-hmm. And, ownership is responsible for a few very important things that don't get brought into the spotlight all that much. But that are, they do, but they don't usually go directly to ownership. But it does. How much they spend, the players, the facility, all of it. And then who they hire. They've done neither one of those things very well lately. So when you look at the things that they improved, right? They're up this year in the families, the treatment of families. They're at a C+. Last year, that was a big thing, right? They didn't have a daycare for the kids, and the spreads for the families after games wasn't great. Oh, well, they fixed that. They've improved their grade. That's like the cheapest, easiest thing to do. We build a little room out. We take one of our rooms in our huge stadium, and we call it the family room. And instead of laying out, cold cuts, we bring in like mac and cheese. Are you kidding? We hire someone to watch the kids on game day so the wives and the spouses and all that can watch the actual game without babysitting? Oh, well done, Robert. How did you do that? Please. Easy, cheap crap. This is the other one, Mitchell. Team travel. This was the first thing you brought up to me the other day.
I love this one.
Team travel. Let me get my reading out here for this. The grade. Patriots, who own their own plane, by the way. We'll get to that here in a minute. F. Mitchell, let me scroll because I put the lowest grades at the highest of my my 13 pages here. F, 31st out of 32 teams. Yeah, so you see the plane all the time, and you say, "What? The Patriots own two of their own planes. Yep. Look at the paint job on that thing. Beautiful, right?"
Remember they used it.
For the COVID supplies, and they do, they do good stuff with it. Sure.
The female team.
You know what we never see?
Yeah.
The inside of the plane.
Yep.
Mitchell, I don't really need it to be real pretty on the outside if the inside's real nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need the paint to sparkle because I'm not typically on the outside of the plane when I'm flying. Okay? So, here is that. 39% of Patriots players report having a comfortable amount of personal space on the team flight, ranking them good for 31st out of 32 teams. The players feel their team's travel schedule is not very efficient, a rank of 30 out of 32 teams. Players want an upgraded team plane. The current plane is too small. There is no Wi-Fi available, and the seats have ashtrays in the armrests. Players specifically responded that our plane is the worst thing. Size, space, safety, and it's not conducive to preparedness for athletic performance.
When I first heard that, the very first thing I thought about, it was a joke years ago, 2010, and it was Jay Cutler looking onto the field after he got hurt in the NFC Championship game, and everyone started saying, this guy looks like he doesn't care. This dude could be smoking a cigarette on the sideline. That's the very first thing that popped in my head.
The first thing that I think of when I hear the ashtrays in the armrest, which, by the way, I've heard has been shot down. There are no ashtrays in the armrest. I think that was probably one player, and the survey took it and ran with it because it is a player's survey about ownership, and there are gripes. So I'm sure that was somewhat of a quote used if there was a response area. I don't know. But I've heard that that's not true by people who have traveled on the plane.
Damn.
And so I don't know that to be true or false, for myself, but I've heard conflicting things about it. But either way, the first thing I thought about with the cigarette, the ashtrays and the armrests is, what is this? And you're not going to get this reference. Mad Men, Don Draper, John Hamm just sitting on the airplane smoking a cigarette on his way to a marketing event.
I've watched Mad Men.
Great show.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great show. Anyways, so here's the truth about their planes. Mm-hmm. The plane was built in 1991. Little bit outdated. They bought the plane for about $10 million from American Airlines. Okay? The reality of it, Mitchell, they have their own plane, so people, like fans, say, oh, they have their own plane. They own the plane instead of like other teams who lease out, JetBlue, American Express, Delta, whatever it is, right? They have their own plane. You never see the inside.
Yep.
Okay? You never see the inside. They're outdated planes. So when you think about $10 million for the Crafts to buy a plane, right?
Yep.
Even an older plane. That to me is pocket lint for them. Sorry, it is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's pocket lint at all. But when your team is valued as the second most valuable NFL franchise, you probably could update the plane a little bit more frequently, whether it be just having things done on the interior to update it or buy a new friggin' plane. I mean, come on. It's embarrassing. The other thing they received an F on was their weight room.
Yep.
Okay, the weight room is small. The equipment is below average, 32nd out of 32nd in the league. The players feel they do not have enough space to train effectively. Now, it was announced on December 9th, there is a new 3-story training facility that is going to open in 2026. The reality of it is, the Crafts got fat and happy and said, we're good.
Yep.
We're good. We're good. We're the Patriots.
Tom Brady's done that football.
6 Super Bowls, baby. We're the Patriots. No. Fat and happy, raking in the checks,
It's all about
getting all the praise, getting all the accolades. And then, you know what? It started going south, and they didn't change. Why? We don't need to change. We know how to. We built a winner. Mm-hmm. They did. They played a role. You know what? You didn't do enough. You didn't do enough after that. It doesn't just end. So, good. I'm glad these are all out there. I am. I'm glad that he's in the spotlight. This is on Robert. They hired a family coordinator and added a daycare and a family room on game days, improving their ranking in the family treatment category from F- to a C-.
It's just a janitor's
or
closet.
C+, excuse me, yeah.
It's a janitor's closet. Yeah, just throw the kids in there.
They don't sign players that have multiple kids because the room doesn't fit it.
Sorry, Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah. Part of
Part
of negotiating with agents is how many kids do you currently have, and is anybody expecting? Because we can't fit them in the room.
Patriots reached out to Drew Rosenhaus. Yeah. So real quick, Tyreek Hill.
We only
how many baby mamas is he bringing with him?
We only have 3 trains in there, so if there are more than 3 kids to play with the 3 train, it's going to be an issue. They added the daycare room, but you still have to bring your own toys.
BYOT, bring your own toys.
Bring your own toys. No TV in there. Just bring the iPad.
We have one charging port.
Because that room probably has, Wi-Fi unlike the plane. Good of them. Good of them. They really they've extended themselves. So this year their big achievement was they added a family room.
Nailed it.
You're the best, Robert. All right. Mitchell, I have the Raiders survey card. I do want to get to this. We've been teasing it. I've been teasing it all week. And there was a tweet that got me thinking. There was Ben Johnson taking the interview in Vegas, ultimately deciding to go to Chicago. But Tom Brady persuaded Ben Johnson to take an interview, and you know what? He did. So I'll ask this. Is Las Vegas or New England more attractive with the ownership, with the coach, with the facilities, with the whole shebang, the location? We'll get to that and more. 978-454-4980. Sports Uncapped, WCAP at gmail.com. That's a brain fart, Mitchell. Sports Uncapped.
It happens.
WCAP at gmail.com. You want to chirp in. Or the text line, 978-454-4980. We'll be back with more Sports Uncapped after this.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year.
Let's just start with making it really clear that Tom Brady is running everything in Vegas. Now, that being said, he's not working with a lot there. Like, up until 2 days ago, I had somebody in the building say, we have no idea what we're doing. Like, they had no idea what direction that Brady wanted to go in terms of a head coach. And they land on Pete. This September, Pete will be the oldest NFL head coach. I could totally see this being a situation where this is a placeholder, where Pete comes in, straightens it up, cleans up some of the mess that was left behind, gets this thing on the right track. And hey, if he has success with it, great. Let's run this thing out until he's 80. But if he can at least get this thing up on its feet, then maybe in a year or two, the hot coordinator can come in and Brady can go get his guy.
That was Diana Rossini back in late January, Mitchell. Remember when we played that clip? Brady is running everything. It was the first time that you heard it said out loud exactly what was going on in Vegas. Like you didn't know Brady was going to go in there and head honcho the whole thing. Mark Davis later talking about, how Brady has been very hands-on and he has his hands in everything and has ideas, and it's good to have that football guy back in the building that they haven't had.
Since Gruden.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, Mitchell, it's going to be interesting now.
Yep.
This is a storyline to me.
Yep.
Which is Brady and the Raiders with no quarterback but Pete Carroll. Lots of money to spend as far as cap space, okay? Not exactly a rich NFL franchise when you look around the league. Like Mark Davis's money situation is not Robert Kraft's.
Yeah.
It's the bottom. Mm-hmm. So like, lots of money. Owns an NFL franchise, sure. Not exactly the most lucrative of the bunch. And I wouldn't say lucrative. I would say just the most, doesn't have as much as others. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So there was a tweet by Vince Bonsignori of the Las Vegas Review-Journal that sparked this in my mind again. This was about a week ago. He tweeted out something to keep an eye on, per sources. The persuasiveness of Tom Brady as a recruiter for the Raiders. It will make things interesting during free agency and maybe even in the trade market. Now, this week, Stafford and Brady meeting in Montana. This story is fascinating to me for a couple of reasons. One, the Brady and Stafford element, and Brady already working with a veteran quarterback in the league to potentially bring them to Vegas, and on the face of it, address a need right there so that they don't have to run into the draft. They have the 6th overall pick and reach for one of these quarterbacks that I don't think are going to pan out.
They both suck.
I'm not high on either one of them.
Yeah.
Although from what I've heard at the Combine, they're starting to believe that one or both of these guys is going to move up. Now, I don't see it, Mitchell. Yeah. I've said I'm out on Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward, I think, is a more fascinating prospect.
I think he's the better of the two.
He's the better of the two, but this is not a year to be quarterback hungry. Mm-hmm. So Brady going out there talking to Stafford. Now Stafford re-upped with the Rams today. They met, worked things out. A year-long contract dispute. He was scheduled to make $23 million. They gave him permission
to seek a trade.
So Brady took advantage of it. Now, the other funny part of this whole thing is the Ian Rappaport of NFL Network and Jordan Schultz aspect of this from Fox. Did you hear this?
No.
You didn't hear it?
Oh, wait, they had the fight, right? Yeah, I heard about that.
So Jordan Schultz, who writes for Fox, and Brady, who works for Fox, Schultz has a report that Brady's out in Montana courting Matthew Stafford. Ian Rappaport then says, yeah, there's too much being made of this. He was out there at the same time. A lot of these guys, they own homes in Montana. They ran into each other. They talked about it, but he wasn't courting them. Rappaport is in a Starbucks, and Jordan Schultz goes in, and they get into a verbal tiff, going back and forth. We need to talk. No, we don't. If you ever mention bleep, 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 blah, 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 Ian Rappaport calls NFL security in Starbucks. Now, why is this funny? Because Jordan Schultz, his father is the founder of Starbucks. The founder of Starbucks. So, in Starbucks.
Free marketing.
Yeah. So, Rappaport, reacted to the Schultz report by saying that, they ran into each other at a ski resort in Montana. It was unplanned meeting. It was not an extensive, in-depth, and did not include Brady hosting or recruiting Stafford. Of course, Brady's agent, Don Yee, runs out. I know that reporters sometimes make mistake with their haste, but this story is inaccurate. Jordan was right. That's what I believe, Mitchell.
I think so, 100%.
Oh, no. They just so happen to be there at the same time as Brady has his hands all over everything.
Yeah.
And they know they are desperate for a quarterback. Oh, hey, Matthew? One of the guys who has been given permission to seek a trade. I didn't know you were going to be. What run are you on? Are you having fun here in Montana? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how it operates.
Matt, how's the kids?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Oh, you like it here too?
The Las Vegas school system, one of the best in the country.
Oh, you like it here too? Twinning. Did we just become best friends?
Let's go do karate in the garage.
And then it comes out just yesterday. I sent it to you. The Giants and the Raiders had offers to Stafford for the $90 to $100 million range for 2 years.
Yep.
So Stafford played it right. He goes back to the Rams. They work out their dispute. He wanted to pay up. He got paid up. They found a number. I don't know what it is still to this point. They worked it out. It's a better spot for Stafford. He stays in Los Angeles. The team is more ready to win now. It's not the Raiders in that division or the Giants in that division going up against the Eagles, or we know the Raiders are in the division there with the Chiefs and the Chargers and everything like that. So either way, no, they just bumped into each other. And so they seem to work something out there, too. Very, obviously they weren't talking business, though. It was unplanned. Yeah, okay. Sure it was. Just like when you bump into an ex at the bar. Oh, I didn't know you were here. You're here? Oh, no, I'm just down there with so-and-so. Had no idea you were there. Anyways, Mitchell, I know you're searching the...
I'm trying to look up the Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I haven't seen the numbers yet. It's not important for the moment, for this discussion. Which is a better spot for potential free agents? Is it the Raiders or is it the Patriots? And think about what they've done here, both franchises. You bring in Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't push it over the top. It does come down to dollars and cents over everything. Both teams have to overpay. You have to pay the suck tax, right? That's what they call it, the suck tax. When you're bad, you have to overpay more than contenders. So the Patriots have $129 million in cap space. The Raiders have second most in the league to New England with $96 million. The cap can be manipulated, so I don't really care about that all that much. The Raiders were the lowest spending team in cash spending, actual dollars spent in 2024. The lowest. The Patriots, believe it or not, were 12th. But both teams have done this. You bring in Pete Carroll, established head coach, Super Bowl winning caliber, older, relatable to guys, has a lot of energy still left in the tank, oldest head coach, but doesn't act like it.
Can throw some dimes.
Throw some dimes around there. His players typically love him. They bring him in there to start a rebuild and a culture rebuild. The Patriots, they go with a younger version in Mike Vrabel,
Yep.
who, again,
He's
has
engaged in practices. You see, he puts on the shoulder pads, or he puts on like a vest of some sort, gets hit, does the drills with the players. Very engaged with the O-line, D-line specifically, just trying to get them ready for the season. Talks about hand placement, and he does the same thing when he goes does college scouting as well.
So this is very much in the mix to me because I think it's fascinating when you look at the Patriots and you say, well, they have a really good ownership, and they have Vrabel there who's building a culture, and they have money to spend. All those things you can say about the Raiders too. All the things those of that nature you can say to the Raiders too, except the quarterback aspect.
Yeah.
So that's the big one there. This wouldn't even be a discussion to me if they had Matthew Stafford. Nope. I know the division is tough.
Yep.
I get it. But I'm sorry, I'm waiting to see what Kansas City is like. Yeah, Mahomes is going to be there. How much longer is Andy Reid going to be there?
Yeah.
Travis Kelce is coming back. Good. I'm glad. He can suck for another year, continue to deteriorate. And I really only believe, or at least I think this factored in, that his return is based off of
ego.
If he retires, what does that do for his stupid podcast? I believe this to be true.
Yep.
As long as he is still playing, people will listen to his podcast. He'll get more clicks for it. It will build that up.
And the reason, and I'm going to add on to that point because I'm a well-known Travis Kelce hater. He's just not entertaining. Say what you will about Cam Newton. Cam Newton, they brought him onto other networks because he's an entertaining guy. Because of the way that he holds himself. Like he'll say some stuff that is very outlandish, but he's funny. He's very quick. He's on his feet. He's a very good media guy. And I listen to his podcast. I listen to his show.
No, he's great on the
and
media.
he's awesome. And he's doing that special ops show, and Golden Tate's on it. And he just went up to him and punched him for no reason. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I thought it was hilarious.
I didn't see that. But, no, listen. Cam Newton has always been a well-spoken guy.
Yeah.
And he does a good job on
then-
ESPN, although he looks like a character that was dressed out of a Batman movie from the 90s.
Yep.
I mean, he does a good job. He speaks well. So
Now,
we talk
Kelce,
about
one last thing. Kelce, on the other hand, I mean, it's only him and his brother. And honestly, out of two kids, he's the third favorite kid. I mean, the guy, everything he says is just clown behavior. I mean, I can't stand anything he says. He thinks he's funny, and he's not. Just overall, just garbage.
We know what we think of Kelce. I'm just talking about his impact in coming back. The Chargers in that division, too. It's a tough division. It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
But is there opportunity? Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there money? Well, we'll see how much they actually spend. So I do want to see this. I mean, Brady is a minority owner. It gave them some infusion of cash, I would think. But it's only 10%. And, Mark Davis hasn't made more money because Tom Brady stepped to town.
So
this is the other aspect. But think of this, Mitchell. Winning location facilities. What did Bill say when they had joint practices in Vegas a few years ago?
he talked about how great the facility
The
was.
Taj Mahal.
Yep.
Raved about the facilities. Raiders did well in this survey. 4th out of 32 teams in the league. Ownership. Mark Davis, A. 6th out of 32 owners. Goofy, clown, worst haircut in the league. Yet, apparently the players like him. They're apparently treated well. Owner, Mark Davis's average rating for perceived willingness to invest in the facilities, 9.46 out of 10. A ranking of 6 out of 32 owners in the league. The players feel that Davis significantly contributes to a positive team culture, a rank of 9 out of 32. Huh. Interesting there. Team travel, 2nd out of 32. Players feel their team travel schedule is somewhat efficient, a rank of 10 out of 32. And of course, the page here didn't cut out. Anyway, they did well.
So what I would add is I think with Pete Carroll, I think if you want to look at how this Raiders team is going to go ahead and build, you have to look back to the 2010-2011 Seahawks. And what they did is in 2010 they had Matt Hasselbeck. They had the Beastquake. They were 7-9. They went to the playoffs. They won a game. They lost in the second round. But since they were ahead in their division, they were high up in the draft. Following season, they go 7-9 again, but they signed a veteran quarterback in Tavares Jackson, R.I.P., and then they looked at quarterbacks that were in the later rounds. Following season, they draft Russell Wilson. And they brought in another veteran quarterback in Matt Flynn. And they had Russell Wilson compete and win the job. And I think that's something that they're going to have to do similar in this draft. Although they
got to find a quarterback.
Yeah, they have to.
And this is where I do think that Brady's impact is going to be felt. And I think even with just Stafford meeting up there and negotiating something, I think he probably would have chose the Raiders over the Giants.
Yeah,
if it came down to those two. Think about John Elway's status and how he was able to deliver Peyton Manning. Now, Elway didn't have a great run at the end, but he brought Manning there. And they won a Super Bowl. It had an impact. So, neither team is close to winning the division, but the foundation and, the culture, Pete Carroll, great hire. I think it was a great hire. I think it's exactly what this team needed for now.
And I think that, you can't look at this upcoming season and then determine whether or not it's going to be a failure. Like, you got the Chiefs in that division. You have the Chargers, and then you have the Broncos. You have a team in the Broncos. They found their quarterback, Bo Nix. He looked good last year. You have a team in the Chargers, Harbaugh. You know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to motivate his guys. He's going to build his team. They're going to be stingy on defense, and offensively, they're going to kill you through the air. They're going to kill you on the ground. He likes versatility.
They got to build up defense there in Vegas.
Yeah,
that's what I look at. But I'll tell you this too, Bo Nix. I'm still not a big believer in him.
I don't think he can carry a team, but I don't think he's average either. I think he's above average.
Okay. It's hard to argue against that too, based off of his first season.
Yeah.
And I was really down on him last year prior to the start of the season.
I was too. I had him as my fifth quarterback.
Yeah. So, I can't say that, I think he's right where he was at. It's a typical rookie season. But I think that, once again, you build up a good defense. Sean Payton's not going to be there forever either. Okay, so there is that element of it. The Chargers, Justin Herbert has done nothing in the playoffs but crap himself.
Yeah.
I think he's one of these guys that has all the ability in the world, and so far nobody has really been able to tap into it and get the most out of it.
So this is what I'll say. He's been to the playoffs twice. The first game, they were up 28-0 against the Jaguars.
Yeah, and they blew that one.
Yeah, and that's because they kept going through the air. And this is where I say coaching matters. That's when you got to go ahead and you have to understand the situation. You have to kill the clock.
Harbaugh can do that. I'm just not sure that Justin Herbert is the answer.
Yeah,
that's what They built that team up last year.
Yeah,
they were a 5-win team the year before. He goes in there and immediately it's what did they win? 10 games, 10-7. So respectable program, tough division. So listen, it's not an easy hill to climb.
Yeah,
being Vegas. But you start somewhere, and once again, I think that when players have a good perception of ownership, now you infuse Tom Brady into that, there is going to be that element. The most important thing to me, it comes down to money and opportunity. It always does. The winning is not going to be a selling point right now, but the young quarterback in Drake May is. That's what makes this a discussion right now. If it wasn't that, Mitchell, if they didn't have the quarterback still, and they were a quarterback-hungry team, and this was still Vrabel's first year, it would be Vegas by a mile. It wouldn't even be a close call. But I do think that the Drake May element does play into this. I will say this, too, about Brady. Mm-hmm. If he's going to be this hands-on, get him out of the friggin' booth. Get him out of the booth. He's going to be useless there. This is his first year in being this active and hiring a coach and bringing in players. So now we're supposed to believe that on Sunday he's going to give critical breakdowns of players and call things out. I don't.
I think he's
I never want to rub anybody the wrong way. I always want to say the right thing. Mm-hmm. He already had that about him prior to this endeavor.
Yeah.
Now he has this, and he's out there skiing the slopes with Stafford, and I'm supposed to believe that on Sundays he's going to give me a real look into these players? Because every single one of them is a potential trade target or free agent signing. I call Bia, get him out of it. He's not going to give me anything.
Bring back Greg Olson?
Bring back Greg Olson. And this is not to say that Brady did a horrible job last year. It was kind of what you expect from a first year. Started off really bad.
Yep.
He improved.
Yeah.
He got better. He wasn't great during the Super Bowl, tell you that, but he wasn't horrible either.
The reason why he was bad during the Super Bowl, he was excited.
Well, he was excited by the end.
Yeah.
You would have thought he just won the Super Bowl.
When
I don't blame him. That's the competitive juice.
When Patrick Mahomes got sacked, you could be like, oh, look at this. Now it's like Tom's happy about
Brady
that.
I've never heard Brady so happy to talk about him losing so he could talk about how Patrick was feeling.
Yeah.
I know this feeling. Patrick's not going to be happy. I mean, it was like, okay, Tom, you're a little giddy right now. We get it. We get it.
The best was when Patrick Mahomes got sacked, and then Brady was like, oh, let me break this one down.
Mitchell, what do you think about, and I haven't heard anything like this, Rodgers in Vegas?
I say no. And the reason why
the Giants are starting to look into Rodgers, who checked in with them.
Yeah, about
but now they're out of the running with Stafford, so do they pivot to that? I don't think that would work with Dayball. I don't think Dayball wants anything to do with that.
I don't think he wants anything
but with
to
Brady
do with it.
and Rodgers.
Brady would not want it. Brady knows he's met with Rodgers. Like these guys talk during the offseason. He sees the Pat McAfee show. Brady knows what it takes to win. Yep. He's going to go ahead. He's going to look at this guy.
I agree.
He's going to watch his Netflix documentary. He's going to be like, what the hell is this guy doing shrooms in Jamaica for? Could be using that to go ahead. And that happened on the show. And you can.
I didn't watch it. I couldn't bring myself to watch
watched one episode, and like every 10 minutes I have to turn it off, and I start saying expletives because I'm just like, this guy.
That's why I just couldn't start it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
But, Tom's going to go ahead and be like, Rodgers, you could be using that time to, study a cover too.
Yeah.
So instead of throwing in the double coverage like you do.
The ultimate competitor, the guy who did everything and made everything about football and winning, is going to bring in Aaron Rodgers, who likes to go to a hut.
Go to Egypt.
Yeah, in Egypt. Yeah.
Do shrooms in Jamaica.
It's going to be floated out there, but I just don't see it. 978-454-4980. Final segment. Karen Garegian, Mitchell, I sent this to you. What does Elliott Wolf's final say really mean for Patriots? I'll read a little bit from that, and we'll react to it in the final couple minutes of the program when we come back from a commercial break.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for.
Sports Uncapped, Stephen A. Norman, Emerald Mitchell Rodriguez. 978-454-4980, the text line, but we are running out of time. Sports Uncapped, WCAP at gmail.com. Also on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble. All right, Mitchell, here's what Karen Garegian of Mass Live had to say in a column that was published the other day. What does Elliott Wolf's final say really mean for Patriots? She writes, the reality, the delineation of power is clear and present. It's Vrabel, then the rest. Wolf was certainly in the mix for now. He has a voice. So does veteran personnel man Alonzo Highsmith. Wolf still operates with the executive VP of personnel title, and he has his staff, and he and his staff have done most of the work on the prospects in the upcoming draft. But Vrabel's hand-picked personnel man, Ryan Cowden, is also working alongside Wolf. John Stryker, Vrabel's master of everything, is also in the coach's ear. Bottom line, this is Vrabel's show, and everybody else is just following his lead. That's how I feel, Mitchell. That's how I feel, and that's what I said the other night. We'll see. A lot of people are still worried.
I am.
The power struggle. Yeah, listen, I'm not ruling that out, but I think that is the structure. That's been the program. I hope everybody has a nice weekend. We'll talk to you Monday. I bid you adieu.